Have you ever wondered what are abortions? Well, according to Oxford, it is the deliberate termination of a human pregnancy, most often performed during the first 20 weeks of pregnancy. My friends and I, for our project, will discuss about different views approaching abortion. There is a stigma and taboo around abortion, and we thought we should openly discuss about it in a respectful manner to educate our fellow schoolmates about this issue, as it affects a large number of teenagers. How many teen pregnancies occur? At least 10 million unintended pregnancies occur each year among adolescent girls aged 15 to 19 years old in more developed countries. Complications during pregnancy and childbirth are the leading cause of death for 15 to 19-year-old girls globally. Estimated 5.6 million abortions that occur each year among adolescent girls aged 15 to 19 years old. 3.9 million are unsafe, contributing to maternal mortality, morbidity, and lasting health problems. How many single moms are there? Well, 1 in 8 women aged 18 to 60 worldwide, 13% are unmarried and have children younger than 15 in their household. Well, how common are abortions in Malaysia? In Malaysia, there are about 90,000 abortions performed annually. How many unsafe abortions are performed worldwide? Well, 25 million unsafe abortions, which is 45% of all abortions, occurred every year between 2010 and 2014. The majority of unsafe abortions, or 97%, occurred in developing countries in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, since it is more considered taboo in these areas. There are many underground illegal abortion centers, however, it is impossible to find a fixed number due to the lack of research done by experts in this topic. How many countries legalize abortion? In the past decade, more awareness has been spread regarding unsafe abortions, and 50 countries have legalized abortion in the past decade to an extent. Only remaining 26 countries prohibit abortions. We have gathered a group of different people with balanced number of males and females with equally different views regarding abortion to discuss to what extent should abortion be legalized. We conducted this discussion to see if there's a possibility of finding a solution that both benefits and satisfies both views. It is also an interesting way to educate people regarding this issue. It was conducted through video calling on Google Meet as we were unable to meet up during the quarantine.
Hey, my name is Aaron. My stance is on pro-life.
My name is Akash and I'm pro-choice.
My name is Asha and I'm pro-life.
My name is Aslin and I am pro-choice.
My name is Bichi and I'm pro-choice.
My name is Jason and I'm pro-choice.
My name is June and I'm pro-choice.
I'm Noreen and I'm pro-life, but under certain circumstances, I do believe that women should have a choice. I think no one asked to be born, but we are here today because our parents made that decision, and therefore we are entitled to education, food, and shelter. And therefore, I feel like every child that is conceived normally without any background of perhaps rape or health issues, I believe they are also entitled to that. And therefore, I think that they should be given the same opportunity as others. They should not be taken away because someone doesn't want them.
But if the parent doesn't want them, wouldn't they by default not already have those opportunities? Because if you don't want the child, then why would you put effort into raising them and giving them a right?
Well, I feel like in many cases throughout history, a lot of parents, they struggle to provide for their child, but their child ends up bringing so much more opportunities to them. You never really know, and every parent should do their best to give that child that opportunity.
I mean, if you say that you want to kill a life just because you can't provide them opportunities, it's not very valid. No matter what, a life is a life. You can't just kill it just because, oh, I can't give him the best education.
Some of us would think that if a parent doesn't want their child, say if they have conceived and then they don't want it, I feel like it's better to have the fetus in its early stages removed before it can really feel anything, rather than the child growing up with the best life that they can have. They will suffer much more if they were born than they will not, if the parents really do not want them.
But how do you decide for them? Just because they can't have the best life for them doesn't mean they're better off dead.
They don't have the choice of decision when they're inside your womb. You cannot just kick your belly and say, oh, hey, I want to live a life.
The parents can't say, oh, I can't provide him the best education, the best conditions for the kid, so I'm gonna kill him. That doesn't make sense.
Okay, my stance is that if you're already like a few months pregnant and it's to the point where the baby has actually developed a brain and organs and everything, I think that's not right to have an abortion at that stage. But if it is at the early stages where the baby is still technically a bunch of cells, then I feel like it is the smarter way and the more responsible way to rid of that bunch of cells rather than having you and the baby suffer in the future.
I agree with that point. And from a religious standpoint, at least Islam would also allow that. And it's the same as using preventive measures and medication. It also kind of like prevents you from having that child, whether that be like killing the early stages and expelling it out of your body. I do think that it is better if you decide to go with abortion, you do it as soon as possible.
Okay, you said that it's fine to kill the fetus when it's still in the womb and has no brain organ. But women, they find out that they're pregnant around 4 weeks in for most women, and by then the baby's first heartbeat has already started. So it's already like considered alive.
There's so many preventive measures that you can take, and yes, most of it is not going to 100% eliminate the chance of conception, but if you decide to go with it and you decide to intimate, then you take that risk. And some might argue that it's unhealthy, but you will not die from abstinence. So I see it as, if you are willing to be intimate, you are pro-choice. I see it as, I'm okay with taking a life because my desires come first. I see it as, if you are willing to be intimate, then you should be able to provide for a child. Make that decision when you decide that. Therefore, it should be illegal. If you really didn't want a child or you cannot provide for it, why be intimate? And these things should be taught to children from a very young age so that they understand. Many people, they say, I cannot support a child, most likely because they weren't educated enough or they weren't warned enough of the consequences. So when they have conception, they can't own up to the consequences of their actions.
Well, you talk about how you shouldn't be intimate if you didn't want to have a child, but what about rape? Because it's not their choice.
Under certain circumstances, I do believe should have a choice, and that is when it comes to rape and life-threatening health issues.
What you said, they weren't warned enough, but also a lot of people that do end up pregnant and not being able to take responsibilities, dumb teenagers, you did dumb things when you're in love and young and high on hormones. Yeah, so I feel like even if they were warned about it, still people make mistakes. Also, on rarer cases, occasionally a person, if they do have a end up like, go, and they try, but then their family doesn't give them that support. And what are they going to do? It takes a village to raise a child, after all. It's very hard to do it by yourself, especially when you expected people to help.
That's why I think it should be illegal to have abortion, because you can never stop people from having children accidentally. But if you have it illegal, then you would reduce the numbers.
Places where abortions are illegal, people still do abortions, but they just do it like they do dangerous things in order to get their abortion. Doing it at like back alley doctors, doing it themselves. So I feel like we should have an option for them to be safer, at least, because they might be trying to get rid of the baby, then accidentally kill themselves.
Yeah, but people have to know that every action you carry out has a consequence and a responsibility to it. If you decide to have sex and then you get pregnant, it's your responsibility to take care and have that child. You can't just kill the life just because, oh, it was an accident, I didn't mean to do and have a child.
We should have these measures, awareness, education, doctors who do know how to, in an ideal where that would be the best, so that we can reduce the numbers. And so when someone needs an abortion, they can get it properly and they would not have to be so afraid of it. And that would reduce the numbers, then legalizing it. And everyone who doesn't want to own up to their actions just has an abortion and throw away their problem.
Wait, so you're saying that abortion should be illegal, but there should still be doctors who know how to do abortions?
Then wouldn't it have to be legal, but very restricted?
When it comes to mental health, absolutely. My personal view, and just from a religious standpoint, I do think if they want to go ahead and have the baby, they could also give an option to have an abortion. You need counseling if you have an abortion. And there are, I think, like specialist centers for that. So in the case of mental health, if it's not extremely severe, then I don't think they should have an abortion.
I would have been pro-life if there was a better system in place to support mothers who do end up pregnant. Children are a big responsibility. You make a mistake once when you're young and that thing haunts you for the next 40 years of your life, if the child even makes it. And a lot of people they do mistreat their children because they don't have that support system. If you want to make abortions illegal, then you should at least have, like Nurin said, education is very important. Sex ed, first of all, a lot of people don't understand what they're going into. And also, condoms and contraceptives are not available to them openly, so they don't even have the preventive measures. And also the whole, support. Like what? You can't get certain insurance or whatever if you're a single mother.
I completely agree with that statement. When a country decides to illegalize abortions, they should put up every single kind of measure, everything that they can to educate people, and then help with abortion when it is necessary, so that people don't do it illegally and dangerously. And then we should also have post-pregnancy help, so centers that give funds to parents who have unwanted pregnancies, post financial aid, and things like that. It's the country's responsibility to provide that.
Yes.
If she can safely deliver the baby, it's better to just deliver it than have an abortion, because abortion has many risks to it too. Like, it could actually damage the
Yeah, but
woman.
she has to
If it's not
carry
carried.
it around with her 9 months, maybe. They have to carry around this thing. They're gonna die anyway. You know it's gonna die.
Just because it will die soon doesn't mean it doesn't have value.
Yeah, I'm not saying it does not have value, but why do you want to bring unnecessary pain to the kid? It's
Yeah,
gonna be alive for a few days and suffer throughout it.
I'm saying it's, if the baby is in the womb, right, and it's gonna die a few days after, it's better just carry out the pregnancy and safely deliver the baby than have an abortion, because there are risks to abortion.
But what if the mother doesn't safely carry the baby anyway? There's also
Then it's
that
also,
risk.
like we all agree, the mother should be allowed to abort it. The child would be born with disabilities or some sort of like health issue that would be life threatening. But there are many cases throughout history where they just happen to survive. They beat the odds and they're living and kicking out in the real world.
From a religious stand, being a Christian, I think that abortion should be illegal. It's because, like, just what Lily said, if just say like the baby does not have a brain and then like the parents do not want to do with it, obviously the chances of living is very low, obviously. But then what I believe in from a religious stand is that God created the baby for a purpose. Everything has a purpose. When life is created, everything has a purpose. So if this baby doesn't have a brain, it's for a purpose. It's a purpose for the family, for the community, and for everyone. If just say the baby like is abnormal, like no brain or no hands or anything, it's obviously still able to be conceived, but then it will not like last for very long. And by having a purpose in this, as I said just now, the baby with like half brain does not have a long, but then there will be miracles, because I believe that God can do anything to anyone. So that's when God actually can impact a lot of people by having this kid to be born. I do not believe that abortion should be legalized, because not to say the mom has a choice to deliver the baby, because when you have a baby, it's a consequence. I mean, if you have sex before marriage and then you have a baby, obviously you have to deliver the baby. But not to say that the mother has a choice to have abortion. It's just that the baby has to be born.
So wait, you are making this mother go through something that is potentially extremely traumatizing because the
Yes,
baby needs to
yes,
be born?
yes.
Well, Eslin, abortions are just as traumatizing as delivering a baby.
Yeah,
No, it
but
could
then
be
the person
even
is
more.
given a choice whether or not they want to go through that trauma. This is your taking away the choice to experience trauma or not experience trauma.
I think abortion should be legalized when it's considered as rape. But if it's unsafe sex, then it shouldn't be legalized because it's a choice that you make. So there should be a middle ground between it.
From my standpoint, if the health issue or mental issue is not fatal, then by all means have the baby. But if it's fatal, there will be suffering for both parties, in a sense.
Okay, I think I agree with you on that. Yeah, if it's like a really big health issue, then if it's like deformation and stuff like that. Okay, let's say you have the baby, and just like how you guys mentioned, it dies in 2 days. There's no point because it's going to die anyway, even if you abort it or not.
I believe that abortions should be made legal until we get a support system. I think abortion should be made legal just for the sake of choice. You should have a choice on whether or not that is available to you. Then you make the choice whether or not you want to go through it, lor. But you have to obviously go for counseling. People should be allowed
Going
to
legal.
do abortions regardless of why are they doing it. They should still be allowed to make that choice. That should be a thing that they can do.
Jason said that in conclusion, he thinks that abortion should be legalized to the extent where it causes the least amount of suffering.
I disagree with Jason's statement. Our statement is that it should be illegal, but when a government decides to make it illegal, they should also provide sex ed. Basically, they should provide facilities for abortion when it is necessary.
Wouldn't it become legal?
I guess it's kind of like in between.
So it's legal but heavily restricted lah.
Yeah, and it also depends on the circumstance. Because in places like, for example, America, yes, you probably have to see someone to get an abortion and consult with them. But generally, if you want an abortion, you can get it. Whereas I'm trying to propose that they would have to see someone and consult with them, and the person they're consulting with should decide whether they are deserving of an abortion, whether this person could provide for their child, etc.
Okay, I agree with Nurin, but that kind of scenario is very hard, especially because like if a person does have the ability to take care of the child, but they really don't want the child, they're not going to take care of it. And then I feel like the government should step in and maybe services should step in. But then for all that happen, then you have to have a very good system in place.
Yep, and a lot of money.
I kind of agree with Jason, but actually I have another point of view. My point of view is we consider the baby as a person, and it's more about a consciousness thing. If I can scientifically prove the consciousness, and at which point it should be legalized and which point it should not.
The discussion has come to an end. However, we hope your learning towards this topic does not. Did you gain more of an insight about abortion and the severity of this issue? We hope you did. Does it seem less taboo to you now? To end, I'll leave you with a question. Should abortion be normalized in society nowadays?